Peace, love, and light, family. My name is Jamila, and many of you guys may know me, many of you guys may not, but I am 20 years old. I am a full-time entrepreneur and the owner and founder of The Healing Culture, which is the business that I created as a movement for more consciousness and awareness towards healing our minds, bodies, and souls in a holistic and natural way. As you can see, I love being in nature. I love being outside with the sun, with the trees, and things like that. So that's just a little bit about me. But today I'm actually going to do a story time. A lot of people have been asking me, why did you decide to go plant-based? Why are you vegan? Is it worth it? I get so many questions, right? So today's story time is really just about the raw, real reason on why I went plant-based, right? And if we want to just get down to the nitty and gritty of it, I was unhealthy. I was over 220 pounds in March of 2022. Unfortunately, my mother transcended this realm February 2020 due to heart issues, due to being overweight, not taking care of her body. She was 46 years old. And my grandmother as well was diabetic, high blood pressure. They had thyroid issues. It was just so many things with their health. And my grandmother was 55 years old when she passed away. So both very young, both had so much life to live, but because they were miseducated and did not know about true health and how to take care and heal their bodies, it caught up to them. And unfortunately, they transcended this realm sooner than I feel like they should have, right? And that's a whole nother conversation for another day. I felt like learning from them and looking on how they live their life is what brought me into my path today. So at the end of the day, just because they're not here in the physical doesn't mean I don't feel them in the spiritual. I actually wear this necklace and it has my mother's ashes in it, and this is actually a tattoo I got that says energy is powerful in my mother's handwriting in a journal that she wrote. So that's that on that, right? I saw the behaviors and the patterns of the women that were before me, and I lost two of the most significant role models in my life at a very young age, and it really shook me, right? Shook me to the core, especially being 16 years old to lose your mother. Anyone who's ever lost a parent, I'm so sorry, because you know how it feels, right? It's a pain that never really goes away. You learn how to manage it, you learn how healthy ways to cope, but that pain stays with you. So just to fast forward into why I decided to transition into my plant-based journey, I was getting into manifestation. I started to manifest more on health and, being healthy and being abundant and all these things. And one thing that I noticed was I didn't necessarily start to, get healthy right away. It was more of the information that started to be presented to me was information that I needed to help me on my journey. So the information that I began to learn, one of the first people that I started to really hear about, talk about true health was Queen Afua, right? I bought her book Sacred Woman. I started to read a little bit, and it's funny because I wasn't prepared for the information when she was talking about having to cut out meat and seafood. I was like, seafood? Like, shrimp is my favorite food? What you mean? Like, I gotta cut out what? And I wasn't ready for the information, right? So it took a couple months after that for me to actually hear someone speak to me that spoke to me. You can hear so much information from different people, and then it's that one person that really speaks to you. And that one person for me, his name is Yaki Awaken. If you guys know him or don't know him, check him out. He's amazing. He gives facts. Through the facts that he was speaking on, he just spoke a lot on, the natural ways that we used to live, right? The natural things that we used to consume. We used to consume things from the earth all the time. We used to always have our gardens, picking our fruit straight from the tree and eating it. And it was just so much information that I started to gather that was like an eye-opener, right? And it literally almost made me cry because it's like, dang, growing up, they have us thinking that we're supposed to be eating meat as a main course, and when you really get down to the nitty-gritty of meat, what is it? It's an animal. It's a life force, right? It's a life force energy, but then that life force energy gets slaughtered, right, in cold blood. That energy that animal is going through, we feel that. We feel the adrenaline, we feel the fear when we're consuming it, right? Because you literally are what you consume. Even just the fact that when you think about it, that animal is now dead, right? So we know that energy can never be created nor destroyed, but that energy is very stagnant. It's full of adrenaline and adrenochromes that the animal went through before they passed away. It's full of fear. And not only that, it's full of toxins, right? We have to even cook the meat to get the blood out of it, to do all that. And just thinking about it now, it's so gross to me. But when I was thinking like, okay, I'm putting these things in my body, you know, we think that, you know, it's a thing in the Black communities. I'm not sure about other communities, but it is a thing for us to say, oh, you know, we're so full, we got the itis. Why are we eating foods and then we feel so sleepy, or our stomach hurts, or we feel like we got to go straight to the fucking toilet? Like, it makes no sense when you really think about it. Another bit of information that really had me thinking was the fact that they tell us that we should drink milk for calcium, but it's like the milk that comes from an animal is for the baby of the animal, right? So the milk that comes from a cow is for a calf. It's for a baby cow. The milk that comes from a goat is for a baby goat. The milk that comes from a mother, a womb, is for the baby that comes from the mother's womb. My biggest issue was, if we're not baby cows or we're not baby goats, then why are we drinking milk from other animals? It didn't make sense. And it was information like this that started to click with me, that was like, oh wait, we've been taught wrong. We've been taught backwards. We've been taught ways that keep us actually suppressed. You got to think, even fast food and pizza parties and ice cream parties were rewards as children. Like, I remember being in school and getting rewarded with pizza and ice cream and hot dogs. Like, these aren't things that fuel my body. These aren't things that make me feel good. So a lot of this learning is what led me into my journey that I'm on now. In the grand scheme of things, wanting to improve my health was my main focus on why I decided to go plant-based. And I've been plant-based since June of 2022. Well, no, that's a lie. I started transitioning in June of 2022, because it's a transition phase. You don't just do this overnight. It's a big lifestyle change. It's not easy. It's hard to wean yourself off of processed foods and meats and dairy when you've been eating it your whole life and you know nothing different. So I started in June of 2022. I started off with like things like Morningstar. Like, I was making veggie burgers, and I would go to Salad and Go, if you guys know what that is, out here in AZ, and I would get me like a veggie wrap and put some jalapeno ranch in it. Things like this that made me realize, like, oh, okay, I don't necessarily need meat. Like, these things are still good. And as I progressed on my journey, I slowly started to wean things out. I started to learn more about fasting. I had a friend tell me, hey, you don't have to go crazy with the fasting. Do 3 days only fruit. And I did 3 days only fruit. And I'm going to tell you, that was one of the hardest fasts I've ever did in my life, because I never had went a whole day not eating anything other than fruit. And I was so miseducated back then on, you know, what fruit is. Now I know more about different types of fruits and all that good stuff. So getting into the routine of disciplining myself, you know, fasting and restraining myself of certain foods that I used to love to indulge in, is what started my transition phase and is what led me to where I am today. Now I have been plant-based. So like I started in June of 2022. It took me about 3 months to go completely vegan, right? To cut out meat, cut out dairy, seafood, because I was still eating seafood. I was still eating cheese and eggs and mayo and things like that. But it took until November. So June, July, August, September, October, November. Oh, it took me 5 months. Okay, it took me about 5 months. Let me get my math right. It took me about 5 months to completely transition, because by November I was plant-based. Plant-based in November, or was it September? So we're just gonna say about 4 or 5 months it took for my transition phase from, you know, vegetarian or pescatarian, as you would call it, because I was still indulging in fish, to fully vegan. And what really made that click for me, there was one time I was doing a hair client at her house, and I remember her mom was cooking like fish, and I ate some of the fish, and I ate a little piece of cornbread. I ate like one piece of fish and like a tiny ass little piece of cornbread. And when I tell you, like 5 minutes later, my stomach started to turn. Like, when I say turn, I mean felt like someone was like, fish. And I was like, oh, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. So I was like, okay, I knew then and there that was my last time eating fish. And that was like in October. And then fast forward to maybe like a couple weeks later, I wasn't eating dairy for like a week, not even purposely. It was just like unintentionally, I didn't eat any dairy or anything for like a week. And then, you know, I was like, oh, I'll be fine. So, you know, I started eating cheesy bread from Little Caesars. I ate some mac and cheese and some potato salad that my sister-in-law had cooked. And I was eating like pizza, things like that. When I tell you, I had got so sick, like my body was like, I don't know why you decided to do that. This is not what you need to be putting in your body. And like automatically I started to detox. I got sick and I was like, oh yeah, I'm done with cheese. And that was that. And that's what really like sparked my journey, like, all right, let's do this. So after listening to my body, right, and hearing the cues of the things that I used to love and try to eat again, and it was like, hell no, I was like, okay, so we're going full into this. So the first like restrictive livid, some people call it diet, I call it livid because it makes you feel alive. Diet has the word die in it, and the way that I eat now, I feel alive. I used to have asthma, I used to be pre-diabetic, I used to have high blood pressure, I was overweight, and now I am no longer overweight. I no longer am pre-diabetic. I no longer have high blood pressure, and I no longer have asthma. I legit have not had an asthma attack in so long, and this is the first time in my life where I can breathe. Being able to take deep breaths is everything for me, especially coming from a child who grew up with asthma, severe asthma, was in the hospitals, couldn't even run before taking my inhaler, like just so congested. I would get sick and I would just feel so miserable. I have not been sick in over a year. I feel amazing, I'm vital, and I'm actually fasting right now. So I'm on a 90-day fruit and juice cleanse. You see, I got my Evolve juice. This is not a paid sponsorship. And they had it on sale, y'all. This juice is literally like $8 a bottle, and they had it on sale for $3.60. I said, let me get 3 of those. But it has like oranges, apples, mangoes, pineapples, and cherries. So this is something that I've been drinking. I've been on this fast. I am 32 days in out of 90, y'all. Wish me luck. But I feel so amazing. My energy levels are spiked. I'm actually about to hit the gym after this. You know, I got my gym fit on right now. And through this transition, I can say that it is one of the best decisions I have made in my life. And my mental clarity, my spirituality, relationship with God has grown stronger. My mentality is so much more positive. One thing that did happen to me is I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of friends when I started to transition, and it was because I developed a growth mindset. And through that growth mindset, I realized that the people that I was hanging around, not necessarily that they weren't growing, but we were growing at different paces, and I had to surround myself with people that I wanted to be like, and I didn't want to be like them anymore. I wanted to be more. I wanted to be greater. And I wish them all love, but I knew what I had to do for me. And so this is just a, you know, quick little story time about my transition and why I did what I did and where I'm at now. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be making more content on my journey because I get lots of questions. But this is just something I wanted to keep short and sweet for today. So I love you all.